Fina. Go and give me some of that Fina. Pour a little bit of that Fina. Sipping on that Fina. For it's that damn good. Now let's get to the video.
Then, now, forever, together. That's WWE's tagline. And, I find it very fitting because the booking was bad then. It was bad in the past in recent memory. It's bad now. And if he continues this booking, it's going to be bad forever. And because of the bot fans and the bad crowds who don't even know how to react to the garbage that they're getting, it's going to be bad together with the booking from WWE and Triple H and with the fans. So it's very, very fitting. At the end of the day, WWE's immediate future and their midterm/long-term future is absolutely screwed. And this is obviously due to Triple H, the gamer, Fina, garbage, aura, you ready for trash. That's what we're gonna get because Triple H has no idea what he's doing, and his bad planning has led us to this. We already know that Triple H is labeled the long gamer, Triple H the long gamer. Everything's planned out. No, it's not. No, it isn't. And you know this. Now, for example, everyone last week was saying Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns and CM Punk for Backlash. Well, guess what? They weren't on the show last night. Roman and Punk were not on the show. And you also have to factor in that next week, right, when we get to Raw, we have, what, 5 or 6 days until Backlash? You're really going to have Roman Reigns and Punk show up on Monday, automatically be buddy again, and then after that, we're going to get a tag match 5 days later? It's forced. It's not going to work even if it happens. And you know that nothing is planned in the long-term booking stuff with Triple H is an absolute lie because it got exposed last week by The Rock. He literally said that the John Cena heel turn was thought of on the fly. The Cody selling his soul gimmick was thought of on the fly. The potential heel turn for Cody that could happen later this year was thought of on the fly. Everything is thought of on the fly. So don't give me the excuse that, Triple H is a long gamer. Everything's thought out. No, it's not. No, it's not. And we're going to talk about why the Seth Rollins storyline may already be in shambles now. Like, as of last night of Raw, it's already done because I see a vision where Sami Zayn could potentially become world champion by next year, and that already renders this Seth Rollins storyline null and void and meaningless trash. Then you also have to factor in the crowds are atrocious. And the reason why the crowds are atrocious is because they're getting bad content. Goodness gracious, everyone's complaining about, so the Kansas City crowd sucked, the SmackDown crowd sucked. Well, yeah, number one, you're in no-name cities, and number two, what do you expect the crowd to do when they're getting bad content? Like, I don't get it. Everyone sees the crowd sucks and they're blaming the crowd and not the content. Well, maybe the crowd doesn't resonate, it doesn't like the content. Triple H says the internet isn't real. You know what I mean? The internet's fake. If you don't like it, stop watching as a fan or stop watching as a critic. Just watch as a fan. Don't analyze the stuff you're watching. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like our content, then F you. F off. What? That's how you treat your fan base. And the crowds are supposed to be coming in person into these arenas and giving you big pops for everything? No, that's not how it works. And that's not how it's gonna work, and that's not how it's been working. We saw it at Vegas in the Mania crowd. The Mania crowd was atrocious night one. It was garbage. When you have no engaging storylines and no good booking and no good feuds and nothing like that, and the championship reigns are all pretty stale, why in the world would the crowd care? There's no reason to care. And the ticket prices, as insane as they are, you have what? The SummerSlam tickets for 2 nights are around $40K? Really? $40,000 to watch nothing! You know the SummerSlam card, if it has 4 or 5 good matches. That's it. That's all you're getting is maybe 4 or 5 good feuds and matches for SummerSlam. That's all you're getting. And you mean to tell me that that's worth $40,000? Really? I mean, come on, man. This year is already screwed, and let's explain why. Number one, Triple H is already doing damage control for the awful performance he's had this year so far and for the awful Mania build and the garbage Mania that we just got. The way he's doing damage control for this is basically by giving us 5 PLE/special event shows in the span of like 80 days. So from May 10th, which is Backlash, all the way to August 2nd, which is a 2-night SummerSlam. So you basically have dang near 5 or 6 special shows at this point. We're going to get, like, I think 5 PLEs, or yeah, 5 or 6 PLEs. So you have Backlash is May 10th. You have Saturday Night Main Event is later on in the month, and then you have Money in the Bank is on June 7th, I think. Then you're going to have a unnamed Saudi Arabia pay-per-view, I think, in June or July at some point in there. And then you're also going to get SummerSlam, which is 2 nights now. So you're getting all of that shoved in from May 10th to August 2nd, which is like I don't know, a little less than 3 months, right? Like around like 80 days. You're getting 5 PLE/special shows. This is embarrassing. They're trying to shove in all these PLEs and special shows to make you forget about the garbage you're getting week to week. Just watch this episode, watch that episode, watch this episode in order to advance to the next one so you can go see the next PLE. That's basically what they're doing, and it's embarrassing. This means that we're going to get a bunch of PLEs and special event, whatever the heck you want to call Saturday Night Main Event. I'm just going to count it as a PLE even though it's a glorified house show. It's a special show they're doing, you know what I'm saying, on a weekend, so I'm counting it as one. This means we're probably going to get, 5 matches a card besides SummerSlam, which will likely have 7 matches or 6 matches each night. And that's all you're getting, which means that if we're getting 5 matches a card, which is obviously stupid, you cannot showcase enough talent or build good feuds or good title reigns that way. If I know I'm going to get 5 matches in a PLE, and one of the matches, for example, is going to be Gunther versus a ring announcer, then I know it's going to be stupid. Then you also have meaningless matches that will be thrown on some of these cards, like Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. Yes, I like the promo segment they did last night on Raw, but there's no real reason to have this title match already happening, and there's no real reason, I guess there is kind of for Becky to turn out. She kind of explained it, but it's not a valid enough reason for this to be on a card. But again, you have Jey Uso and Logan Paul fighting. You got Pat McAfee and Gunther fighting. You got Becky Lynch and Lyra fighting. It's not enough. They're throwing stuff together because you have to meet these deadlines for these PLEs. And these matches are all going to be predictable. We know that the 2 world champions, Cena and Jey right now, are not going to lose their belts anytime soon, at least until maybe SummerSlam at the earliest. Same thing with Tiffany Stratton, and same thing with Io Sky. So if you have all these 5 match shows taking place, revolving doors, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of revolving doors, random feuds thrown together with short-term payoffs and short-term builds that are messy, you know not all of it's going to make sense, you know it's not really all going to connect. We know nothing of meaning is happening on these PLEs then until SummerSlam. It's as simple as that. We know it's not going to happen. If you have a show every 2 or 3 weeks, why in the world would you do anything groundbreaking or ground shaking on any of these shows? You may get a couple returns here and there, like Cody Rhodes will come back at some point soon, probably. You know what I'm saying? You'll have like a great match on a card or so, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you'll get a good feud or 2 here and there. But there's no time to build these feuds because every 3 weeks, you have to do a short-term build and throw some stuff together to fit a match card quota for the PLEs. That's all you have. So just like last summer, where it was messy, nothing really made any sense, Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes were having awful world championship reigns, we're likely going to get the same thing. The only saving grace is that Cena will be there, you know what I'm saying, semi-consistently this summer, so that will give some intrigue and some hype as to what he's doing specifically. But outside of him, it's going to be a bunch of thrown together, non-creative, predictable, poorly booked storylines for the most part. You will get at least 1 or 2 or maybe 3 good storylines out of the 55 billion they throw at us over the next couple months, but it's not enough. And it's not good enough quality. And it basically renders Raw and SmackDown week to week are going to be meaningless for the next month or 2 at this point. Because it's just going to be thrown together stories to fit the next 3 weeks PLE. And the next 3 weeks PLE. And then 3 weeks later get another PLE. It's just going to be thrown together for nothing. Nothing. We get Backlash next weekend. And then 2 weeks later we have Saturday Night Main Event. And then 2 weeks later we have Money in the Bank. How in the world are you going to book anything engaging that has mid to long-term staying value in that span? It's not going to happen. And so like I mentioned, last summer with Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes having horrendous championship reigns and us having boring feuds and monotonous garbage until like the beginning of July to when SummerSlam happened is when things actually started to heat up and become pretty awesome. But outside of that little span, that 1 month span, it went back to being garbage immediately afterwards. It's not enough. And you cannot book mid to long-term stories, like I said, when you have to build for something every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks, you got to make something up for a PLE. We're about to get Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is probably outside of like the big 4 PLEs, which honestly, Money in the Bank, honestly, at this point is starting to feel bigger and more important than Survivor Series in many cases, because the War Games matches have been garbage. Nobody cares about the War Games matches unless it's the Bloodline involved, and that's the only match that ever tends to matter on the Survivor Series card the last few years. So outside of that, you might as well scrap War Games and just go back to doing normal Survivor Series 5v5 brand versus brand at this point. You know, outside of that, you have SummerSlam, you have Mania, and you have the Royal Rumble, right? Outside of those, you have what? The Money in the Bank and the Chamber are probably the 2 biggest ones outside of those big 4 PLEs. And Money in the Bank is going to be thrown together with 2 weeks of build-up. This is embarrassing, man. What kind of stuff is that? One of the bigger PLEs of the year and it's thrown together in 2 weeks? You know, it's not going to work. And on top of that, the fans are not going to be able to attach themselves to any of these storylines. This is why you get all these weird reactions. The Rollins faction is supposed to be heels who are getting booed. They're supposed to be maniacal heels. And all of a sudden they come out. You have, whoa! You have people chanting for Braun Breaker, who is a face. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what he is. He's not a face. He's not a heel. He just goes around and spears people and barks, and it's over with the crowd. That's all he is. Paul Heyman hasn't even uttered a word yet, basically, on the mic since he's done this turn, because there's no reason for it happening. If you have no reason to justify this stuff, why should the crowd care? And that's why you get these mixed reactions. CM Punk partly getting booed and then getting cheered. Roman Reigns getting massive cheers. No one knows what to do with any of this stuff. Becky Lynch, they're chanting one more time for Becky Lynch to manhandle slam Lyra Valkyria last week. They're chanting one more time for Braun Breaker to spear Sami Zayn last night for the 5th time. Sami Zayn is the babyface here, and they're cheering for him to get speared. This is bad booking. The crowd has no idea how to react to it because they're like, oh, well, I mean, there's no reason for this, so we might as well just treat it like a normal other Raw or normal house show. That's how it's being treated because the storylines are not being treated with care. This new faction with Rollins and Braun Breaker and Heyman has no reasoning. It has no chemistry. It's not entertaining. It's not engaging. The you know what I'm saying? The actual potential of it is decent. It could be cool eventually, but right now, this is stupid. And I'm already telling you right now, Sami Zayn, the next year's Royal Rumble, I think, is in Saudi Arabia. So Sami Zayn is likely going to win the Royal Rumble. And what they're going to do is later this year, Rollins will probably win the world title. And they're going to do a dynamic where Sami wins his Rumble and then wins his first world title at next year's WrestleMania 42, beating Seth Rollins for the title. They're gonna paint it into a narrative of like, oh, Seth Rollins has taken over. He has everything. They have everything. Him, Braun, and Heyman, and whoever else they add. They're in control of everything. Who will come up and uprise against the big faction and take them down? And obviously, Sami Zayn gets the ultimate good guy moments at Manias every single year, basically at this point, besides this year. So ultimately, Sami Zayn will take the world title from Seth Rollins by next year's WrestleMania. Book it, mark it, we know it. It's going to happen most likely. If they don't do that, I would genuinely be a little bit surprised. You know what I mean? It's just as simple as that. So Jey Uso's going to lose that belt probably by SummerSlam or something like that. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? That's the long-term booking you get, is Sami Zayn probably winning a world title. That's what you're getting after a bunch of messy short-term, mid-term booking. So it's just none of this stuff is going to work. You cannot focus on Raws and SmackDowns being good and getting the effort and the quality that they deserve while also throwing stuff together to meet PLE match cards and what's it called? Meet the day that the PLE is actually happening. It's happening. It's getting very messy and everyone knows it. This is going to be a repeat of last summer, but arguably much worse because even though John Cena is arguably already a better WWE champion at this point, if you compare the point where he is at now, where Cody was at, a few weeks after WrestleMania last year, he's already more interesting, he's already more engaging, and you're already more hyped to see what he does than you were to see what Cody does. And it's as simple as that. But he's a semi-part-timer at this point, so he's not going to be there pretty much consistently. He may be there like 2 or 3 weeks out of the month, which is not bad, but, it's not great either. You know what I mean? And then you have Jey Uso, his reign is already bad. Nobody cares about this. You know this guy's going to be a transitional champion just like Damian Priest. So it's not a good look. The mid-cards are already suffering. SmackDown has WWE champion who's not even going to be there sometimes. And so your main event segments are likely going to be stuff revolving around the U.S. title or the Women's WWE Championship, which Tiffany is not going to be able to anchor that show as the main attraction. You know that. You know it. So why are we even doing all of this? It's going to be a disaster. And the last thing I'll say about this is one of the last points I want to talk about.
All right, let me pause real quick. Now, I don't know if this will be the match card, but now although CJAX don't like the fact that Becky is facing Lyra for the Intercontinental title, at least that if she wins it, she's most likely going to elevate it. Give it more popularity, more eyes to look at. And, I think that match is going to be very interesting. As for the Fatal 4-Way match, if it's booked as that, hopefully Nia Jax will put on a show along with Naomi and Jade. But we know Tiffany's going to retain. And the Fatal 4-Way match for the United States title, I hope that'll be a great match when we see Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre and LA Knight go in. But we know Jacob's going to retain. And as for John Cena versus Randy Orton, we've seen matches like that multiple times. It's just the switch up is just, John is heel and Randy Orton is face. So, and then of course you got the tag team match with Seth and Braun, and of course Roman and Punk. I'm gonna be honest with you. These matches are boring, man. only match I'm intrigued is Lyra versus Becky. That's it. Every other match is like, eh. But I kind of want to support Nia Jax, so I'll watch the Fatal 4-Way for sure. But as for everything else, I'm probably gonna get bored off of it. I just hope that Dom face AJ Styles at Backlash, so that way we can see some entertainment in that match. I don't know if Finn and JD and Carlito are gonna put their hands on Dom. I doubt it, but again, if it happens, you better shoot. You better do it before Liv come back, because the polls right now, based on what I post on Instagram, saying that she might be back in 3 weeks. That's not long. At first, I thought it was 12. Which is ridiculous. Ain't no way hell she's going to be gone for 12 weeks. But however, 3 weeks, shoot. I mean, anything can happen in 3 weeks. But the question is this. Now that Liv is out for allegedly 3 weeks, what's going to happen with Raquel's titles? Right? What's going to happen with the tag team titles? Because everybody's asking, like, what's going to happen with the titles? Are they going to be vacated or are they not? Because when Liv Morgan comes back and she realized that that the tag team titles are no longer valid because she's not here, that's going to be a problem, because you're supposed to be defending these titles. You're supposed to be, challengers for the titles. Or actually, no. You're supposed to have an open challenge for the tag team in the back. But unfortunately, because you guys are a bunch of... because you and Raquel been running around here flexing with the belts like it's jewelry on your neck. You have literally been just using that title like it's a brand new watch that you bought from a jewelry store. So basically, you're just flexing with the titles instead of actually doing something with it. Now, one of my subscribers did say that they said that the tag team division is dead for the women, and that's true. It has, but that's why we need the Bella Twins, and again, new talent from NXT when they should be getting their NXT tag team championships. It's just kind of strange to me that they would give the titles back to Liv and Raquel, but they're not doing anything with it, but just showing it off. That's it. And I hope next week Raquel will compete, so that way she will look for a partner. I mean, some people suggest that she should team up with Nia Jax, which is cool. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But do you really think Nia Jax is going to, do you think that Nia Jax is going to be with it when she's going to be facing Tiffany for the, WWE Women's Championship? I mean, I don't have a problem with Nia Jax teaming up with Raquel. They do TikTok videos together, but at least with those two, they're doing it together. Unlike Liv Morgan, they don't do nothing together. You know what I'm saying? So at least with Nia Jax and Raquel, if they do a TikTok video, they're participating, versus with Liv Morgan, she's too bougie to do it, which is so dumb, because Liv Morgan act like she can't dance. And I'm like, come on, Liv. I mean, how many times that we have seen you on, I don't even want to talk about it. But however, I'll just say this. If Liv Morgan don't come back soon to defend those tag team titles, they might vacate them, which I think they should, because if they're not going to do nothing with it, then give it to somebody that will. Like I said, now somebody asked why Gigi and Tatum lost if Liv Morgan was just going to be absent. Well, they probably didn't know that was going to happen. But then again, don't everything be advanced? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. But again, yeah, I told you, Gigi and Tatum were not ready for those titles. All right? They should be going after the TNA Knockout Women's Tag Team titles. That's what they should be going after. Because if you're not going to bring no titles to NXT, then don't do it. But it's hurting the women's division, because now they got they don't got no tag team now. Who's going to team up now? We just found out the Meta girls are probably going to split. You know? And, of course, Zyra is going to portray Soruka. And you saw what happened with Crota Jade and Roxanne. So what do you think is going to happen to Chemical X? You feel me? Like, Fatal Attraction, you know, they still together. I mean, they're going to TNA and doing their thing and whatnot. But I'm just saying, like, without the tag team titles at NXT, it's really no point of them and nobody teaming up. You know? Like, and that's the same with the women's division and the main roster. Nobody's willing to team up. All right? You think Natalya wanted to be with Maxine? Hell no. None of these women want to team up except KC, but again, those two are close. So why can't they take the tag team titles? They got the skill. I'm pretty sure they'll challenge any woman in the back that's willing to defend. It just makes no sense to me that you would give the titles back to two people that don't give a fuck about the women's division. That are only using those titles just to make themselves look good. You literally gave those titles back for nothing. Just some jury, you know, they either way, it's just rocks and metal, right? But you gave them the titles back and they didn't do a damn thing with it. All they doing is just walking around here saying they're the greatest tag team of all time, but they barely wrestle. They barely get any matches. I hate that CJAX is not talking about that. You know, he's been saying all these positive things about Liv Morgan, but never want to talk about the tag team titles. Dude, talk about it. Because you know I'm always talking about it. Why would you give the tag team titles back to two people that clearly don't give a fuck about the tag team division, that don't give a fuck about the women's division, that just want to walk around here and shit on people that they don't need to be shitting on? Now, I'm thinking that listen, if Raquel can get a partner that can, you know, like I said, defend the titles, maybe it won't be like that. I'm hoping. Now, I would like to see Raquel team up with Nia Jax. But the question is, how are they going to plan that? You know, I was thinking maybe, you know, she would team up with Alexa Bliss. Like, Alexa will probably, you know, be Liv Morgan's replacement until she comes back and she'd be shocked and awe, you know? But, again, it might not come to that. So I don't know what Raquel is going to do. I mean, can Nia Jax join the Judgment Day? I don't know. Because if she joined, I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, Nia and Raquel, cool. So, I mean, can it work? I don't know, man. I mean, I'm telling you, man, if Liv Morgan don't get back, if Liv Morgan don't get back soon, I'm telling you, man, the Judgment Day is not going to stand tall, and Raquel's going to have to defend those titles. And when she has to defend it, you're not going to be around for it. So, I don't know. But I guess we won't know until next week and the week after that. But however, this ain't going to look good for Liv. I mean, shoot. If she come back and Dom, you know, do something stupid and Raquel replace her and Finn Balor take over, you went out sad, Liv. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, don't regret your decision. Don't regret your decision. We're happy for you. We're glad you're about to go do a movie. I can't wait to watch it. But I'm just saying, the fact that you left your familia alone with somebody you don't trust is just, and the fact that you left your partner with a tag team belt that you have, right, and that you probably need to give back, by the way, lets us know that you're not thinking clearly. You're letting all these wins affect your fraction, which is not even your fraction, by the way. You're just a member. But the fact that Liv Morgan feels like she's the leader of the Judgment Day kind of brings you back to the point where Finn Balor was saying that there's no leaders in the group. But Liv Morgan acts like she's the leader. She's literally making matches behind Finn Balor's back. And it's ridiculous. I can imagine what next week's going to be like. I just hope that only thing I just hope for is that Finn finds a way to talk to JD. Hopefully Raquel will compete. I still want her to do some single matches, but if she has to do some tag team matches, who will she face? Ain't nobody in the back that's going to be willing to team up against Raquel and her partner. Who you going to face? KC? They're in SmackDown. I really think they should just give up those titles and just give it up to NXT. Because at least the women in NXT can team up and face each other for the titles. Versus with y'all, they can't do anything because every time they get in the ring with y'all, it's not because like every time they get in the ring with y'all, they don't do nothing. But just separate groups, So it's going to be interesting how this plays out, but it ain't looking good for the long run. But as for everything else, like I said, man, we just got to play it by ear. But I am looking forward to Becky versus Lyra. But I just don't know how everything else is going to go. And I'm still wondering when is AJ and Dom are going to face each other. Are they going to face each other at Backlash or are they going to face each other on Raw? I don't know. We have to wait and see. But I think May 10th is like next weekend. So we'll see. I am going live that day, so we'll see. But let's get back to the video.
The part-timers, right? Speaking of John Cena, this part-timing stuff is going to cause WWE to suffer in this short-term booking if this continues. I do hope, and I kind of think that Roman and Punk will be back at least within the next month by Money in the Bank at the latest, But if they're not, it's just going to make for bad episodes week to week. At this point, you have no Roman Reigns. You have no CM Punk. Cena's part-timing it up. Cody Rhodes isn't even there. You know what I mean? And Seth Rollins is in a boring storyline that's not even that good so far. So none of this stuff is working. None of your top stars are even there, some of them, you know what I'm saying? And then the other ones are not even doing anything of meaning or value. So where in the world is there going to be intrigue, hype, and impact for this summer of WWE? We want this to be exciting. We want this to be awesome. The summer of Cena, the summer of all this stuff, etc. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. The Seth Rollins faction is botched so far. Both of the women's championship reigns are just going to recycle a couple feuds. Like Nia Jax will come back to fight Tiffany probably for Backlash. And then you'll get Rhea Ripley probably feuding with Io Sky in the next month or something like that, or some nonsense with that garbage. And they'll do short-term booking time after time until SummerSlam so we can breeze through all these PLEs in the span of 7 weeks. We're getting 3 or 4 PLEs at this point, and that's what we're going to get. It really is as simple as that. If you don't have your bigger stars on the show, there's no reason to tune in week to week, so people will only watch these PLEs and see these meaningless, garbage, thrown together matches, and this will set up the lack of hype and intrigue for SummerSlam, which will then probably struggle to sell tickets. It's a massive stadium. You're charging $40K for front row seats. What is that? It's embarrassing, man. Unbelievable. So the part-timing stuff is going to hurt them for the short term. You have no stars showing up. You have the short-term booking is just going to be a mix of awful TV on Raw and SmackDown consistently probably for the next few months until maybe SummerSlam. So all in all, your midterm future is ruined. Your long-term future may be in jeopardy. And obviously we don't need to talk about the past and the current because we already know it sucks. And the Mania we just got in the build we got to it was garbage. So with that being said, that's what I think about WWE's immediate future being absolutely atrocious due to bad booking and bad planning from the gamer Triple H. So with that being said, I thank you guys for watching, and I can't stop thinking about Punk. And have a great day. Peace out and one love.
Well, there you have it. Backlash, man. I mean, I'm still streaming on May 10th, but the only match I want to watch is just Becky versus Lyra. Unless they're going to add AJ versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. So everything else I'm probably going to sleep on, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll stay up to watch it with y'all. So y'all get in the comment box and make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that Triple H is about to ruin WWE for the rest of their days? Or do you think it's just for now until he repositions, right? Like just until he, gets a different position besides being the creative manager or creative officer, Like I said, I think he should just run ads, just be the ad manager instead of being the creative officer, That's my suggestion. But y'all comment down below and talk about it, all right? Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new, and I'll catch y'all in the next video, all right? I'm out.